Hello YouTube viewers, welcome to my channel Science to Technology. In today's show, Camera Tuesday, we're going to talk about Nikon ZR. So let's dive deep into it. So you have to understand, there was a marriage long ago that was between Nikon and RED, and basically Nikon just dipped RED in April 2024. So not that long ago. Now here's the deal: why everybody wants or hates RED? Well, simply because RED has important patent. RED came into digital cinema very early on. However, you might be like, hey, didn't other companies also had digital cinema camera? Yes, but they were all very old school in the data management, where they were like, okay, just capture the raw and dump it into the computer, and if they needed to bake something, they would deal with that. Now Red tried something different. They were like, okay, what if we compress raw, not a video, raw. Now what does raw mean? Raw simply means it's not debayered yet, meaning the technically the image is black and white at that point in time. You have to apply the color matrix on it to get the right data, and like basically it's just naked. And at that point in time you can do a lot of things, like basically you can control exposure, like you're changing ISO, because inherently the cameras only have one ISO, the electrical circuit ISO, and modern cameras have two ISOs, where you have, like, base ISO of 800 and 1200 and all that jazz, or 800 and 3200. So you have two physical circuits, but it only one would be active at one time. So what about all those other numbers? It's just a digital game. So when you have the raw file, you can do that. So you can basically contort the image like you are doing it on set. That's the whole benefit of raw. Everybody wants the raw, and all the major company at that time, they were just like, raw it is, full raw, like you take whole thing. But here's the deal: file size was brutal, like hundreds of gigabyte per minute, kind of brutal. So Red comes along. It's a very new company, very young company, and apparently they had some good mathematician. They figured out a way to visually losslessly create a raw file, meaning they will shrink the size, but it still be raw, as in like you will have all the flexibility, and you can get a very small compact file size in the camera body. That's the critical, in the camera body. That's their patent, and the algorithm and the things they are doing. And Nikon also wanted that, so Nikon tried to shift Tokyo drift around that patent by buying another company, or like patenting from another company who had a similar sort of patents, but they lost the court case. So at that point Nikon is like, okay, let me bitch slap you with money. They just bought it, just like that. Now what about other things? Well, let's just say that US patent 9245314B2. Other than that, do Red has anything other than it? Yes. While Red got so early into digital camera, and they were like paying too much attention to the actual core logic of it, they really developed a good color science. While the color science people still say like it's a bit inferior than RE, and again, let that be, you and I can't tell that unless we have a cinema grade display or actually watching in theater. You do need to understand that whenever we are watching something like that, it's gone through so many layers of compression that true genius of this sort of output cannot be realized unless you are in theater. So there is still something that RE has, and RE has figured out a very simple bypass. It's like every frame is a freaking raw file. Like every frame, you can just take out a slice. It's like, what is it? It's a full raw. Like it's basically a digital camera running at, like, FPS. So it's 30 FPS, 40 FPS. They designed the whole pipeline just FPS. So when legal battle happens, it's like, sir, still camera, sir. It's like, how? Every single frame. Pick any frame, every single. It's like they went all intra frames, they went YOLO. What if every frame is an independent package? So that's how RE does it. But again, benefit is GG resolution, meaning like you do not have to worry about it. As like you go YOLO on it. Red did that, and other companies like Apple wanted ProRes, so Apple had to pay them. Apple did try to sue them, lost. And Canon also wanted compressed RAW, they had to pay. So Nikon now has to pay. But because they were so early and they worked so hard on the algorithms, they really developed a good color sign, which has the critical advantage that it can be edited in most hardware and software because of the old age, and they really worked on it. Like more than enough people like it, where it's like, no, it is desirable. So it has that, like it has the color science that people like it, and other people want their patent. So Nikon ZR is the first output of that tech. Now Red side has already adapted. All they did is swapping their lens mount to Nikon lens mount and Nikon autofocus algorithms. But again, it's a very early on, very uncooked at this point in time. And this is the Nikon adapting to Red. So basically Nikon body with Red technology. So Nikon ZR. Now this puppy is basically, you take Z6 Mark III and you take the core of it, basically take the same motherboard and strip everything else. So what do you strip? You remove the electronic viewfinder, you shrink the second SD card to micro SD card, and you basically remove mechanical shutter because it's a video camera. What's the point of mechanical shutter here? And All that is like just removing. What did they add? They add the most amazing thing that all camera should have had by 2010. It's a big LCD. I think this is definitely a target from RED. This is a big display. It's almost 1280 by 800. Like, wait a minute, isn't that resolution few years ago in mobile phone? Like very long ago. Like HTC used to be a company that time resolution. Yeah, you'd be shocked. Like, because the numbers are so horrendously bad. They say million dots. But you have to understand, they're counting sub a pixel. Not a pixel has 3 subpixel. So that's how they're inflating the number. So this time it's actually modern-ish. Now, core aspect of it, the actual quality of the panel, it can go up to 1000 nit. What does that mean? That simply means you can finally see the damn LCD in sunlight. Like, you must have remember, like during 2015 and all that, you can easily tell who is poor, who is rich, simply because how they are watching their smartphone in sunlight. If they're rich, they can directly do that because it was very high brightness. And if they were poor, they were doing like this. So this finally removes that. It's finally rich LCD. So you can enjoy that. And it again does have good color accuracy. So I'm reasonably sure somebody from RED either linked up the contractor, is like, bro, we have this LCD supplier. They actually give good stuff rather than your 1990s garbage. So it has actually, basically think in this way, like your 3-inch display that you have in your all cameras, even my Canon RED, the whole physical plastic frame, that whole thing is actually display here. It is big difference. Like, it's whoa kind of difference. Like, whoa. It's almost like how first time people saw Blackmagic giving 5-inch display. People were like, whoa, you are telling me that we humans have the technology of 5-inch LCDs? Like, Blackmagic was like, yeah, Blackmagic never figured out hinge was also a technology. So they are like, this is the best. You get the hinge and you get 4-inch. So this is actually like, oh, this is made in recent time, as in like 2015, I would say. So that's there. Improved thermal management, because I'm reasonably sure if you know anything about RED, that's what they were popular about. They were horrendously bad because they were trying to do so much mathematical crunching. Yeah, they were cooking itself. Like, it was bad. Like, it was bad. That's how bad it was. As in, people used to have ice packs. They would shoot a scene and put ice packs on it just to cool it down. It was bad. It was like, while their mathematician who designed the algorithms, they were good. The people who designed the heat sinks, they were high on cocaine or something. They were just dumb. Like, now at least they have like fuller CPU, like a cooler with fans and airflow and all that. Is like, finally somebody figured it out. So so thermal management, again, I would have wished for a fan, but they did the next best thing. They distributed the heat. Now, one thing you have to understand, they can easily make it that it never overheats. Then why don't they? It will burn your hand. Anything that's supposed to be human hand, it has a temperature limit, so it does not burn your hand. And again, that's the reason why laptops overheat so much. They can easily cool the heat down by dumping all the heat into the chassis. It's just that your lap will get fried if they did that. Burn hazard. So for that reason, they always have to throttle. And that setting is for legal reasons. They can cook it. They can, like, okay, dump all the heat into the frame. And again, it won't be that hot, but it will burn your hand. Camera would be fine. It's just that your hand would be burnt. So that's why the best thing you can do is distribute the heat quickly enough that temperature drops quickly enough where it does not rise up, where it's like you keep pushing the temperature like a server, where it's like push it to 95 degrees Celsius. So they did work their ass off to make it better. And I would have still loved fan, because again, I live in India and I do experience outdoor temperature of 50 degrees Celsius. They are saying that they have faith till 40 degrees Celsius. So it's good. It's good. If you are trusting till 40 degrees Celsius, it's good. And they have mic in with the first time, world's first ever 32-bit in-board recording. Now, like, didn't Panasonic did that? No. What Panasonic did is, they're like, you buy this camera, buy a $400 analog to digital converter, and that's how you can get it. This company is like, nah, bruh, that's cocaine, bruh. You just plug the mic in. Now, let that be very clear. You cannot plug something like this. That will not work 32-bit. You need to plug something that has analog output, as in like normal microphone directly into the mic jack. Only then you'll get the full dynamic range of the microphone, and then the dual ADC can do their magic and you'll get 32-bit, meaning the video file you can directly edit in Premiere, if Premiere supports 32-bit, but you should be able to just recover the audio and boost the audio without creating noise. So that is there. Although it's half implementation, because again, this is useless. You're supposed to have digital pipe in 2025. But again, better than nothing. And again, for many people who do run and gun and they actually have shotgun mic on it, shut up, take money, go home. That's like flat out. And the first time, this is why they paid for, I think, millions of dollars for this patent, is like RED raw support. And I think that's why I'm saying, like, RED is weird. It's like some of the mathematicians are there is like GG. Other people are like stupid. It's like they had 4 GB file size limitation, as in they were still using FAT till very recently. If you are old enough, you remember we used to have pen drives that were like 16 GB or 32 GB, but you can't transfer a file that is that huge. It will stop at 4 gigabytes. Red had that issue. So if you recorded a long clip, it actually created a folder that had multiple clips. So that issue is solved. I'm like, took you long enough, but it is solved. What about the bit depth? Now here's the deal. 8-bit is what the way transmit. 10-bit, good. 12-bit, GG. But again, cinema has reached ahead. So cinema, as in like if you have RED cinema camera, those puppies are at 14 or 16-bit. Now, do you need that? No, once you reach this sort of bit rate, it has what we call point of diminishing return. But people still love it, especially for VFX heavy work. But 12-bit. So why it is 12-bit? I'm pretty sure this is just a firmware package for the ZS6 III because the SoC has not been changed. So everything is designed for that bit depth, and they're like just repackage the whole thing in RAW. Now again, does not mean they just added that format. Simply means RED team sat down and tuned the color matching algorithm so it looks like a RED camera. And one thing I have to say, Nikon does very well. They do not crop unnecessarily, meaning right now, still you can buy Sony cameras that are like 4K 60 crop. It's like 4K 120 should be cropped. 4K 60 should not be cropped in 2025. No, we're going to crop it. This copy, 6K, 60 FPS, na crop. Go home, chill. So that's good. 4K does give you crop at 120 FPS. So that is there. We are still waiting for a technology where you can do 120 FPS without crop. But let's see. So it's a reasonable camera. Basically, you take Z6 Mark III, strip everything down, reduce the price, and have a LCD that is actually useful. And you introduce 32-bit, which again, if you are a guy who has a shotgun mic on your system or analog microphone directly feeding into your camera, you're gonna have GG experience. So this is Nikon ZR. Now here's this camera is very weird. Like, it's very confusing to me, like why Nikon is doing this sort of gamble. Because everybody is comparing this camera to Sony's FX series. Now, I did not know how successful FX series was, but apparently it is successful. Like B&H is like, bro, we are shipping FX3s like there is no tomorrow. So it is successful, big enough that other companies are noticing it. And again, looking at what Canon released, I am reasonably sure this puppy is selling like hotcakes. So that is there. But here's the deal, what's the difference in this versus other Sony camera? Not much. It's just the usability went up. The hardware is the same, exactly what they are doing. Hardware is exactly the same. This does not do RAW, this does not give you like all the other bells and whistles. So why people are loving this? Because it improved the usability, as in cooling fan, so you do not have to worry about it. As in a bigger body that has mounting holes, so you can mount a lot of things. Dual card slot where you can do proper redundancy recording. So a lot of those little things. Digital hot shoe, so you can directly plug your microphone in, which again, that's how I know Sony is selling so much. DJI just released DJI Mic 3, and this puppy can dump a 4-channel of audio into your camera without any analog transmission. Like digital to analog happens here, digital goes there, digital dumps into camera, the end. And again, you can dump 4 channels of audio independently at 24-bit. And again, given the fact that DJI Mic 3 is 32-bit system and it does have auto gain, so to say, you will get clean, digital, crisp audio, 4 of them in your Sony camera. So that's what people want. People want usability. Oh yeah, this is also FX3. So it is confusing why Nikon is releasing something that does not have redundant recording, because again, if you do not have a card failure, you are going to have a card failure. It always happens. So you do not want to oops. So again, for video, it is important. No oops, no side door, which is weird, especially for RAW, because here's the deal, no matter how big of a card you buy, unless you are buying Panasonic has the luxury where you can just plug a SSD in. Other than that, always you have to keep opening the door, removing the SD card. But again, in this camera, they have it at the bottom. Why? That was like so unnecessary. Like, did they not figure it out? It's like, oh, even 1 minute will end up filling up the, CFast Express cards. So that is genuinely stupid. Like genuinely, like it will irritate you, especially if you are shooting RAW. It's like, okay, let me open it up. Okay, let me open it up. Okay, let me open it up. So, and again, having it at bottom is like, why? Having no second backup, why? No fan, again, that's a bold decision. If they must have faith in the heat dissipation circuitry, as in like the whatever vapor chamber have, if they have faith in that, cool. But again, it's a bold decision, especially for video only. So that's the micro SD, minor inconvenience. Micro SD, major inconvenience. And no audio input pipeline. That is the most stupid part. By the way, at this point in time, Sony is the only one that does digital audio pipeline in, as in 24-bit digital audio can go directly into your system. And that's what future should have been. Like this is what we should have had in, like, after 2015 or even 2010. Like we used to have like MD disc player. It used to have optical data transfer for audio long ago, 1990s kind of long ago. It's just that somehow people are like, what if we have analog to digital? No, what if you have digital data? No compression issue, no conversion issue, no noise channel issue, you just data. Because again, ideally, what would a camera do? Camera would be like, hey, buy your own audio equipment, because again, audio has a bit of art to it. So you may like Tascam audio, you may like Zoom audio, you may like mix pre audio, you may like Scorpion audios. Those things are what run the cinema industry. Those things are expensive. But here's the deal: you don't worry about time code and syncing. No. You take the USB-C jack, jack it in, the end, go home. That's what future should have. Or second best, what if the second best option? Second best, what Sony is doing, having hot shoe. Now again, Sony does not support 32-bit in, it supports 24-bit in. But again, that's the whole point. And again, this is the first time Nikon is introducing a hot shoe. So I was hoping for that. It's like, even if they wanted to make extra money, it's like, okay, 32-bit USB-C, but you have to buy extra hot shoe, like how Panasonic does for $400. Again, that would have been better, because that's the future, where you have a dedicated audio equipment and you dump dedicated multiple channel, like 4 channel minimum, directly into USB-C, and USB-C is like, okay, I'm going to dump it into camera. So you do not have to worry about it. That's the future we want, or what we need practically. Not this idea is like, okay, I have an analog mic, because no matter how good Nikon's actual hardware is, their analog to digital converter will not even be half as good as Zoom, let alone as Scorpion. So that's just, and again, studio audio nowadays, again, we already have quad audio. So that's the lame output. And no open gate. That's like, why? And open gate is kind of important, because many times you would have seen a lot of camera company have rolling shutter, and some of them have bad rolling shutter power, but they have been used in movies. So how the heck? Well, imagine this way. Let's say you have a car chase scene and the camera is on the car, but they will never put the camera like this. They will put the camera like this. Why? Because motion blur has 2 components. First, motion blur is the actual motion blur that's coming from your shutter speed. Second is reading sensor. But what if you compound both of them? So instead of having the camera like this, you rotate the camera, so now it's like this. So instead of line going, it goes fat, so it looks like authentic. That has been done in many car movies, where if the camera does not have good rolling performance, they just rotate it in the motion of basically motion axis. So motion blur compounds. It does have increased motion blur, but again, you can compensate by changing the shutter speed, and voila, it gives you very good. You can test it with your mobile phone, especially if it has a poor rolling performance. And if you're going, like, let's say on a road and you have a lot of light poles and it's looking like this, twist it 90 degrees at the direction of motion. You'll be like, but again, it does require you to read out the whole sensor, so you have more room. Because again, we don't use square sensor. So because of rectangular, you do want open gate, so you can do that. Not having that on a video camera, and again, the Nikon is saying it's a video camera. It's not like it can do video. No, it is a video camera. Like, you go into Nikon site, it's like a mirrorless DSLR cinema. In cinema, there are 4 models, as in like a RED cameras and this puppy. So it is cinema. Not having open gate in a cinema system, I'm like, that means the SoC, the Xpeed 7 was not designed to handle open gate. It's just showing through. So that's there. Although I think this camera has a bit of rush element to it, simply because the patent will expire in 2028, April 2028. So it's not that far away. Now they do have more patents, but now the patents are far more tiny. It's like the original patent was like, 20 years GG market share. Now it's like, because again, the moment April 2028 happens, kaput, everybody will start flooding the market. Yeah, it happened with one of the multi-tool I wanted, like Wave. Chinese companies are now making full clone of it. It's like, how can they, patent expire? And it's a normal thing, patent expire. So that will happen in, so I think this is just Z6 Mark III with firmware updates. And again, it already had NRAW, so 99% of the hardware was there. And even software, they just like tweaked it. So it's weird, like not having redundant recording, not having the body for video, like mounting holes, and like, even Canon is introducing with mic input and all that. So it's weird. Not having time code, it's weird. It's good, it's just that really weird. So question becomes the final question. For whom this is? Well, here's the deal. For price to performance ratio, it is shut up by the end. Like, there is nothing I can offer or even come close to the horsepower this puppy has. Like, flat out. Like, this puppy is almost price of Canon EOS RP long ago. Canon EOS RP and has the performance of like, flagship series. It's like its price to performance ratio is good. Meaning for student people, buy it, enjoy it, learn your cinema grading, learn your everything. It's like shut up, take money. It's good. And if you don't have money and you're like, you have to buy something low cost, shut up, buy this. There is nothing else. And again, you will enjoy using it because of the big, bright screen. Not only big, it's bright. Not only big, also hinges. Blackmagic. Figure out a supplier that can give you hinge. So that's really good. Like that's genuinely quality experience. Like flat out, higher chance you will buy this camera and actually use it rather than buy it, put it in Almira simply because like it's too cumbersome to use. So that's there. And again, if you are the vlogger kind of guy and you're like putting the shotgun mic directly, analog shotgun mic directly there, JJ, have fun. You do not even have to worry about audio anymore. So lot of good things is there. And if you like or no red color science, enjoy. There is no other alternative, flat out, the end. Although let them be very clear, if you are uploading it for content, don't expect too much will change, because if anybody has actually put some effort into NRAW, again, NRAW is hassle simply because again, not enough support is there. But if you have really put hard work into it, it will look more or less the same. Not because the starting point is same, it's just at the end of the day, raw is raw. You cook the color science, you apply the LUT. You can, if you really put effort into it, you can make anything look like anything, especially if the starting point is good, like a 12-bit raw file. It's good enough. And once you go through multiple layers of compression, once you convert the system, bake it, that's the biggest loss of detail. Then you bake it again when you are uploading it to YouTube, and then the person gets the compressed version of it output, which is done what we call real-time transcoding. Yeah, you're getting potato out. So do not be shocked. Even if you're watching it, like, why everybody's saying it looks exactly the same? Yeah, because you are showing at least 3 layers of compression. It will not be that good. So if that's the whole point, like if you're buying this, I would not suggest use raw part of it, simply because you will be frustrated. Like use normal H.265 simply because your file size would be much more manageable. Because again, you have so many layers. If you're uploading it for TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, it's not really gonna fly like 12-bit raw. It's not a cinema file. So that you have to be reasonable about that. So that is there. And it's a good progress for camera. I'm happy finally somebody figured out, hey, what if we are in the world of tomorrow of 2015 where we have 4-inch screens. I'm like genuinely shocked. Like how the heck Blackmagic did not figure out that you can make a hinge, and all other companies like, oh wait a minute, you are telling me that we should count pixels rather than dots. We used to do that in handycam eras. So fundamentally, it's genuinely, I'm happy that at least screen became good. I'm happy that 32-bit is almost, Panasonic was the first, this is the second. I'm just hoping that somebody finally figures out, hey, what if I give you the actual way of dumping data? Like Sony is the closest because they do give you 24-bit digital audio in, which again, that's why I'm going to buy Sony simply because of this. I do not want to deal with this. Right now it has a Rode, analog to digital converter, digital transmission, digital to analog converter, analog to digital happens in the camera bodies. Too much conversion. So fundamentally, I'm very happy with the progress. And again, if you are planning to buy this, I would say wait for what Canon does, which again, we know Canon has released it. Wait for what Sony does. It should happen very soon now. And again, you can see what basically Canon did. Canon is taking it far more seriously. And again, it also looks like a FX Pro and it has timecode input. Does that matter? Yes. There are many applications that, like Adobe Premiere, does not like the idea of timecode in an audio channel. It gets to have a dedicated metadata layer of timecode. This camera gives you that. And again, you cannot even get Netflix approval unless your camera has dedicated timecode input. Like it cannot be, oh, it's in audio layer, I'm going to convert it now. Again, they can, like if you are large enough personality, they can convert for you, but like you want a camera that has a dedicated metadata layer, especially if they are shutting up about, oh, it's a video camera, then they should have that. And this puppy goes to 7K. And it has cooling fan. I can trust this puppy in Indian heat more than I can trust Nikon 1. Nikon 1 indoor GG. And again, they are having the brain of like, what if your tally light in your mic is also there? Big ass tally light. I'm like, just convert that puppy into USB-C port with audio in. So it's a very good system, and we are happy that good progress is happening. Big screens, everybody wins. Big and bright screen, everybody GG. Price to performance ratio, really good. So let's see what happens. So this was my presentation on Nikon ZR's wedding. Hopefully you have liked it, learned from it. In that case, please hit the like button, share it amongst your friends. That will help me a lot. If you didn't like it, didn't enjoy it, I urge you to press dislike, press it twice to show me extra disappointment. Please leave a comment because I do try to reply to all of them. Subscribe, press the bell icon if you're free, and as always, thanks for watching.